we come from a period where we never used the term ladies because it was a socialized thing. We were big feminists. I was also thin and beautiful then. She's still beautiful. But good morning. Women's economic empowerment is probably one of, if we get it right, it's probably the most important part of what we need to do to push our countries forward. Now, it can be in any country. In South Africa in particular, with the high levels of poverty, the huge income gaps, high levels of divorce, and all the kinds of inequalities are at unacceptable levels within our country. And of course, this situation defeats the basis of the many struggles women have waged over the years for a non-racial, a non-sexist, and a prosperous society. I'd really like to take this opportunity to applaud the UN Women Knowledge Gateway for Women's Economic Empowerment as a global initiative to raise the agenda of enhancing women capabilities using virtual platforms to connect and learn from each other. Because what I'm hoping for is that it really does help you to create, to put your businesses forward and to make sure that you are able to network with your little business. A couple of years ago, I was given R1 million by my department then to have a function. And I went to my aunt's house on a Sunday morning. And you know, on the Cape Flats on a Sunday morning, we eat cook sisters. And my aunt had a best friend called Mrs. Gray. And when I got there that Sunday morning, she was really upset with Mrs. Gray, because Mrs. Gray took away her 3 streets that she sold cook sisters to, and she stole her recipe. So I called her and Mrs. Gray together, and I said, look, you have a friendship for many, many years. Now, the two of you don't play golf, but you sit at the table and drink copious amounts of tea every day, and you talk to each other, and your relationship is an important relationship. So I'm going to invest in your company. I'm buying 25% shares, and you will together start a company. And I gave them 500 Rand for my 25% shareholding. And that I would come back in 3 months' time, and in 3 months' time, I would like to get dividends for my shareholding. So they said, do you want more money from it? I said, yes, I want to make a profit. Okay, so they had to go and they had to get 6 streets and get 6 streets of people to buy cook sisters from them on a Sunday morning. My aunt made 80 Rand a week just on selling cook sisters. And when I came back to my office, I thought a lot about it. There were so many women who were trying to make ends meet and selling little things and fruit and veg and so on. I ran a competition. I was supposed to have a big slap-up meal for 500 guests because of my budget speech, but I could also have a slap-up meal for probably 1,000 women at 1,000 Rand, which means that I probably would be funding 1,000 women times 5, because they probably feed 5 more people, and times 1,000 Rand. And I thought that was a much better investment. The only thing that they had to do, they had to learn to use the computer, because they had to purchase from the computer. And so I ran this from what was called the Red Door at the time. So it was only in poor working class communities. So they had to come in, buy the flour, buy the apples, buy the oranges, and they had to go back, and then they had to come back and pay it back in and the next woman could get 1,000 rand. I pretended it was a competition. So many people applied. Made the data, and I phoned them up. I said, "Now you're the next winner of this competition." They said, "Really?" I said, "I'm bringing you 1,000 rand, but you must come to meet me at the red door." And I show how I put the money into. The point is, we just need to believe. We need to have the passion to be able to drive your business. And then there are all these other things that will help you. There's Facebook that will help you. There's all other forms of social media that will help you. And very often it's us girls who are more resistant to using it. I mean, I used to be terrified of Facebook. Then I went onto Facebook. And then I really, really liked it because it meant that people were telling me things that I didn't know about my department. And, and it was really, really good. And, I mean, I am the Minister of Public Enterprises. Now, you didn't have load shedding yesterday. You don't have load shedding today. You're going to have load shedding for the next 2 to 3 years. But I'm the Minister of Public Enterprises. Public Enterprises has an asset base of 755 billion rand. In essence, I'm probably the CEO of the country, as we're speaking. So the issue is that we procure, and I really believe that to grow the economy, it sits with our small businesses. You employ more people more consistently, you feed more families, so we've got to invest in small businesses. What it means is that you've got to be able to see Alex Gore, which is the Marine Diamond Company, that's also in my portfolio, Eskom, in my portfolio. The one I get the most hiding for, but it's in my portfolio. Transnet, which is a thriving business. SA Express, which is the airlines. Denel, which is the ammunition, arms and ammunition producers. And then Safcol, which is the forestry industry. And Safcol, as we speak, they about 20,000 families rely on that forestry company for their livelihoods. So those are the companies that's within my portfolio. But I had a much simpler mission here today, and a much more pleasurable mission, and that is to introduce to you South Africa's best export. A very, very dear friend of mine, and somebody I've known for a very long time, Phumzile Mlambo Ncuka, who will deliver the opening address today. She was appointed, remember she was the Deputy President of this country. Remember she was the Minister of Minerals and Energy in this country. Now, I don't think you might remember, but I also remember that she ran an organization called World University Service. And every time I hear the word WUS, and I want to interpret it as meaning a bit of a muhu, I remember World University Service, which is an enormous organization in all our lives. Like many of us, she was very active in the struggle against apartheid. She served as the first president of South Africa's National Natal Organization of Women, which was an affiliate of the United Democratic Front. She has the one thing about Phumzile is that she's always driven a very woman-centric agenda in whatever she did. We got very excited in the round table on this kind of issues she spoke about. What is it that countries must do to ensure that we create women industrialists? Now, some of us might not want to be an industrialist, but what is it that we do, what countries must do that will ensure that the cog of our communities, the women in our society, the kind of anchor of who we are, that their lives are turned around?